Well, I'm not infallible. I'm wrong sometimes, and I think I've been proven wrong here. Sony came through with a pretty great press conference. I would use the word great. And they started things off very strong, playing this orchestral music with, and then it kind of got ruined by this weird woman like doing groans and shit. It was just very, very odd. But the music, I knew immediately that it was God of War music. You could tell from the very beginning. And then they showed God of War 4, which is just being called God of War, and it's taking place in this like Nordic kind of thing. They're talking about like Valhalla and shit. So they did go down that route. It's not Greek anymore. The one thing that has me really curious about this game, about them just calling it God of War, is if it's a reboot or not, which I think everyone's assuming it's a reboot. And I don't think that they should assume that. I always thought that as soon as I heard the whole rumor about the Nordic, the Viking shit and that kind of mythology, Norse mythology, when I heard like that, like way back when, that rumor, I immediately thought, like, how cool would it be if, in God of War 3, by the way, God of War, I love God of War, 3 being my favorite. So at the end of 3, he kills every Greek god, everything's dead, Mount Olympus is like crumbles and shit. So I thought if they were going to go down this route, it would be like Kratos after that, kind of, he just goes off somewhere, and he looks really old when you see him in this gameplay footage. So it's plausible that this theory could be true, but he, would run off or whatever and hibernate or go halfway across the fucking planet or some shit and end up in this, Norse mythological world, and then he has to conquer that. I thought that would be a really interesting thing to go with, because in the gameplay, he still looks exactly the same. He's got the fucking red tattoo and the ashes on his skin, and he's bald, and he literally looks the same, just older. So I don't know what the explanation for those tattoos and ashes on his skin would be if it was like a reboot. I'm sure they could figure something out, but I really hope that it's not a reboot. But that aside, looking at the game looks fucking great. The graphics are fantastic. The art style is fantastic. It's still, when you look at the monsters, they still look like God of War. Like, they still look like shit from God of War 3 still. The one thing that's really different about this game is like the tone of it and the gameplay. The tone is like, it could just have been the segment that they showed. It seems really toned down, much slower paced, and the fighting seemed much slower paced too. It seemed a lot heavier. The camera was a lot closer. It looked like it felt heftier just looking at it. And he was doing a lot of like rolls and stuff. It almost looked like Dark Souls. Like that's what I would use to describe it. It looked almost like a Dark Souls kind of thing. And I'm fine with that. I'm down for that, because they've already done, they had 3 games. That's enough. It's time to do something different. So they can go ahead and do something different with this. Really good looking game. Obviously a PlayStation 4 exclusive. I'm very excited for this. This will be a fun game when it comes out. Then they showed The Last Guardian, which they resurrected from the dead after that game had been in development purgatory for God knows how long. And every time they show it again and again, it's coming out October 25th of this year. So you have to wait much longer for that, which is kind of hard to believe. But I'm not really sure how I feel about this game. I like the Team Ico games. Ico is good. Shadow of the Colossus is one of the best of all time. PlayStation 2 games, at least. And I just look at The Last Guardian, and just looking at it like on its own in a vacuum, I'm not really that intrigued by it or impressed by it particularly. I think a lot of the reason it has so much infamy surrounding it is just because of the whole tumultuous development process and the fact that it is a Team Ico game. I'm sure it'll be an acceptable game, maybe even a great game, but just looking at it based off of what they're showing, I'm not too enthused about that game. Nonetheless, it's a big game to have. Then after that, they show this game called Days Gone, and it had this trailer for it, and they showed the game twice. They showed it once here in the very beginning, and then it was their closer as well to show gameplay for it. First, they showed this trailer for it, and it was like this biker gang, and they get separated in the zombie apocalypse. It's another zombie game. I thought it looked a little bit boring and generic just based off the trailer, but I was willing to cut it some slack because it graphically looked pretty good. And yeah, also the developer is Bend Studio, who did the PS Vita Uncharted Golden Abyss game that I made fun of in my Uncharted 4 review, which, by the way, go watch my Uncharted 4 review. But Bend Studios making this, and when I saw the game and I started seeing like the zombie cues and I started seeing the way that they were trying to make it, emotional or whatever the fuck, I thought that it was going to be a The Last of Us tie-in game. Like, I thought it was going to be Bend making a game that was set in the Last of Us universe. It's very clearly it's not that. It's not that at all. It's its own game. But let's just go ahead and fast forward to the end of this press conference where they show the gameplay, which was a very bad way to end the press conference because they should have ended it with something else, which we'll get to later. But they show gameplay for it. It looks fucking terrible. It looks really fucking bad. You've got there was like a ton of zombies chasing the guy and they're all like clipping into each other and he's just holding down the gun and shooting. It doesn't look very good of a game. I think Sony really should have stepped in here and be like, yo guys, you want to make a zombie game? And then I'm sure the people at Sony are very intelligent that do relations between the different studios. Someone that like me should have been like, yo, this doesn't look so hot. I'm like, what could we do to like make this hot? Make it a fucking Last of Us tie-in. That's like somebody should have stepped in and did that, but it didn't happen. So Days Gone, no release date on this, which is a theme with a lot of this stuff. Next up, they showed Horizon Zero Dawn, which is coming out early 2017, I believe. This game, I don't understand. I really don't understand why everyone likes this game. I literally can't understand it. It looks like Far Cry Primal in the third person, and Far Cry Primal sucks. So it looks so fucking boring, man. I don't understand. I don't understand why anyone would be super enthused about this and I'm getting off on saying it's boring because it looks like it's one of those games where it's like you run into different monsters and there's like 10 or 15 different monsters and each one has a really specific way that you kill it. Like you have to use this combination of weapons or this specific weapon. That shit gets so grating, man. And it looks like it's not like a story game. Like it's not going to have a story, or at least a compelling story. That's not the main focus of it. It's being this pseudo open world gameplay thing like Far Cry does, which is just so disinteresting. You collect items and upgrade your stuff and clear out the map. It looks generic as fuck in my opinion. It's generic as fuck in terms of its structure. The whole concept of it's 10,000 years after our current civilization. That's an interesting concept. I think the robots are fucking dumb and silly and generic looking, but like the actual concept is okay and somewhat original. It's just the actual gameplay, like the actual structure of the game is just kind of generic and boring for me personally. Then we had a fucking creepy as hell trailer, or not even a trailer, like a gameplay thing that looked a lot like PT, the Hideo Kojima PT demo. Looked a lot like that. Turns out that it was Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, which Biohazard is just the Japanese name for Resident Evil. That's what they call it in Japan. Kind of like the Evil Within has a Japanese thing. But very interesting direction for Resident Evil to go in, if I don't say so myself. Especially, you look at Resident Evil 4 kind of took the games in a different direction, and then you had Resident Evil 5, which people think that game sucks. I liked Resident Evil 5, but it was a very actiony game, and then Resident Evil 6, which everyone agrees is shit. So this is a very interesting direction for this game to go in. They actually are going to have a demo on PlayStation 4 like the night of this E3, which is right now for me. I don't know when it is for you watching this video. I'm going to download that shit right after I finish recording this. But yeah, I think this game looks really good. No release date, no schedule or anything like that. Oh no, actually, fuck. Did this one have a release date? I think it might have been 2017. But this one is going to be probably on Xbox and PC as well. I would assume Resident Evil's been multi-platform for a long time now. After that, they showed Detroit Become Human again, which is a Quantum whatever. Oh my god, what's that studio's name? Whatever, the people who made Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, they're making another game. They've been showing this one for a while. This game is interesting because there was a demo like a long time ago, or not even a demo, like just a showcase trailer thing, where it was like an android woman getting assembled. This is a very long time ago. I don't remember what E3 this was. I think it was like, this was like in 2008 at least. Maybe, yeah, probably 2008. But they turned that into like a whole game concept here. In the trailer, it looked pretty good, but I liked Heavy Rain. I heard Beyond Two Souls is fucking trash, and just looking at it, it looks terrible. But Detroit Become Human looks pretty good. I'm going to be cautious on it, though, because of how Beyond Two Souls panned out to not be that great. So Detroit Become Human remains to be seen if it's good or not, so just temper your expectations on that. Then they showed Crash Bandicoot, and no, it's not a new Crash Bandicoot game. It's just a remaster of Crash 1, Crash 2, and Crash. Oh my god, what's that fuck? It's been such a long time since I played that shit. I don't even know what the fucking third game's called. Oh, Warped, Crash Bandicoot Warped. But I don't understand. Like, everyone's so excited about this. They want Crash Bandicoot back. Fucking why? I don't understand why. Like, Crash Bandicoot's an example of a game that's like a very at the time game. I don't think that shit's aged well, man. I don't know why people want it back. I mean, you got it back, you got a remaster. I don't know who fucking cares, why. And then they showed, this is kind of where the press conference kind of like started dipping a little bit. Then they showed Skylanders Crash Bandicoot, which they have to fill their quota for one really stupid fucking child's thing that no one cares about, I guess. Looked really boring and stupid because it's, fucking Skylanders. No one above the age of 10 plays that. Then they showed Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which, to be frank with you, I'm watching it, and I knew it was Call of Duty, you could tell. But I'm like, man, this is, like, not that bad looking. It doesn't look too terrible. I'm not going to buy it or anything. It's just very interesting to see how they've gone all in with the sci-fi thing, whereas Battlefield is kind of taken and be like, you know what, maybe we need to go back to, World War II, or in the case of Battlefield 1, World War I. Then they showed the Modern Warfare remaster, which, my god, Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4, is just such a fucking good game, man. That was, so many good times were had with that game, for me at least, and I know many others feel the same way. I might just have to pony up the $80 just to play that game. I'm not kidding. I really need to play that game. There was some kind of exclusivity on PlayStation where if you pre-ordered the game digitally, you'd get to play the campaign only of Modern Warfare 30 days early, which is such a bizarre exclusive to have. I'll probably end up getting that shit on PC if I do decide to get it. And then here, we get into the territory of shit. The last two things, that's what pushed it over the top for me. That's what made me go like, you know what? This was really good. This is some of the best shit I've seen in a while. First off, you have a Spider-Man game, all right? And it's not like a movie game. It's not made by like some no-name studio. It's made by Insomniac Games, who I'm not a huge fan of their games, but they did make Sunset Overdrive, which I did enjoy a lot. And they're handling this game, which after playing Sunset Overdrive, thinking about a Spider-Man game made by the people who made that's fucking perfect. That's really logical. And you look at the game, it looks fucking good. Like, it doesn't, just to think, this could be a real big turning point too, because, superhero games have only been done right by Rocksteady with the Batman game. And Marvel games there haven't been too many great Marvel games. Probably no great Marvel games, a few decent ones, but no great ones. And now with Marvel being such a force that they are in media, with the whole MCU thing, it's kind of unfathomable that there's no, great games, and looks like they're changing their pace. Or changing what they're doing. This game looks fucking great. If you look at the costume, I'm not sure if it's Tom Holland voicing Spider-Man in this. I somehow doubt that. But the costume it's the same one from Civil War and Spider-Man Homecoming. So this could possibly be an MCU tie-in, or at least be based off of that Spider-Man, because they had the thing where the Spider-Man eyes zoom in. Looks just like the costume from the movie, except the back had like a different print on it. So remains to be seen, but the game looks fucking good. No release date on this, no release date on a lot of shit here, which put a hamper on the whole presentation for me, but this Spider-Man, I'd rank this at number 2. So you're wondering, what the fuck is number 1? Number 1 is Hideo Kojima he's back, of course. He's got this deal with Sony and PlayStation, and he's come back to make a new game with them. And I thought it'd be a while before we see what he's working on. No, they're showing it right now. He's with a new game called Death Stranding, which is a fucking badass name for a video game, especially in the way that it was presented is so artistic. So you have this trailer where it pans up and there's this guy like laying on the beach with like no clothes on and shit, and then they pan to his head. It's Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead, who Norman Reedus was of course going to be in the Silent Hills game back before Kojima and Konami had their issue. And so he's back, he's doing a game with them, and then this trailer was like incredibly bizarre but very artistic and intriguing at the same time, where he's like hugging this like fetus, and then like the fetus like disappears and shit, and he's got like Norman Reedus has like a hole in his stomach where like it looks like someone like performed like a cesarean section on him. It's very odd. And then he looks up in the sky and there's these 5 ominous figures there. Just very fucking cool. Like, you know this is going to be something good. And the one thing that's really odd about it is that the one thing that people are questioning, is this like going to be Silent Hills with with a different name? I think so. I think there's no way that he would be able to come out with a trailer and be so far into development that he knows what he's doing. If he would have just, let's do the timeline for this. If, he went with Sony however few months ago and he's already got this much done, I doubt it. So this is probably work that's already been, taken over from what he was doing with Silent Hills, or at least concepts. I think that they're just going to make Silent Hills and call it Death Stranding. I think that's what's going on here. There's also an interview that he did with GameSpot that like came out the second that the conference ended, where it says that this game is going to appeal to people who like stuff like Uncharted, which is really exciting to me. I would assume that this is going to be a third-person action game. I think that's very logical to assume. It will probably be filled with a lot of sections where there's, no shooting or anything like that, where it's just ambient scenes of walking and stuff like that. It's not going to be like PT. And that's never what Silent Hills was going to be. Silent Hills was never going to be a first-person walking game. PT was purely for the purpose of PT and being a demo and being a separate trailer experience, whereas Silent Hills is going to be something different. So this game looks profoundly fucking good, and it's just a trailer. And I usually give games shit for just being a trailer, but the trailer's so good. It's Kojima. I know what's going on with this game. The one thing is that this is probably going to be a PlayStation exclusive, but there was that talk of... the reason I say probably, and with not 100% certainty, is because there was that whole talk that I read about where Kojima said like he would be open to doing PC stuff too, like bringing the games over to PC as well. I hope to God this game comes out on PC as well. Kojima's shown that he's capable of doing a game on PC and doing it well, because they did the Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain on PC, and it was a great PC port, a great PC release in general. So yeah, I'm beyond excited. I think Death Stranding's probably on the top of my fucking list now for games I want to play, with that Spider-Man game somewhere in the top 5. I am really excited about that. I didn't see that one coming, man. So, kudos to Sony. Put together a good conference. No PS4 Neo, so the future's a little weird for them in terms of their hardware. They might have to like reevaluate after the whole Xbox Project Scorpio thing. But this conference was great. I would give it an 8 out of 10. I was going to give it a higher score, but in retrospect, looking at all these games, like only 2 of them have fucking release dates. So you've got to take it down to an 8 out of 10, which is it was a great fucking press conference. I loved it. There was multiple games that I'm looking forward to in there. So I think Sony, I'm going to dub them the winners of E3. They definitely won E3 games-wise, conference-wise. Also, the conference itself, it didn't have people talking for long periods of time. It's just trailer after trailer. They kept it short. It was like an hour and 25 minutes, an hour and a half long. So a good presentation as well, because I made a comment where like I said that all these conferences have kind of been chores to watch. This was not a chore to watch. It was enjoyable to watch. It was exciting to watch. So, yeah, Sony have come through with a good show. That's E3. No more E3 coverage from me. You're not getting an Ubisoft video. I didn't watch that bullshit. Thank you for watching, but leave down below who you thought did the best at E3. I've seen a pretty even split between Sony and Microsoft, which is shocking for me because I think Sony, hands down, had a better press conference. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on the channel.